Good afternoon, Katia. We're here in Prague 7 and Stroniska 9 at the Prague home and studio, and so we agreed to carry out an interview today. And I would like to. I had sent Katia some questions about her work, and I'd like her to talk about them. So I will give it. We can just wing it basically, and it can be informal. So my first question that I had was, please describe your primary encounter with the principles elaborated by Carl Jung in his theory of the collective unconscious, and how that relates to your artwork and paintings.
It's a very good question, Jung. It's I think my favorite question, because my encounters started far before my this life. I think this was happening through all my past lives, a lot of encounters, and I have one interesting story, because when I think I was 3-4 years old, I had a dream, and I get visited in this very early young age of 3 or 4 years old by 2 snakes in my dream, one black snake and one white, and they came to me and in front of me entangled in the fantastic ornament. And next day I get 2 books from my granny who came visit, and she brought 2 books, one black and one white. So this is not only appearance of archetypal symbolism already so early age, but also it's a crystallic example of synchronicity. So this is my first, and of course many years later I start to read Jung's books, and they became part of my life without being able to detach from reading them. And when I don't have them, I actually get very disappointed. I'm looking for Jung's books and I'm reading them again and again, and especially Red Book, which appearance of black and white snake is in every second chapter in his dreams, his I don't know if hallucinations or
in Jung's
yes, and
book of dreams.
Yes, no, Red Book.
In the Red Book, and
the
more mysterious
and
book.
his book of dreams. Of course, there are many. It is actually a later question. Yeah. So this is my little answer. Little big answer.
Good. Well, that's a very good answer. And we're here also with Katia's husband, Daniel Levanti. So I'm not going to move the camera because I'm afraid it's going to fall down. But he's the connection with Jung, and also with you had spoken about Rainier Marie Rilke, the poet who preceded Carl Jung. Well, to continue with that, let me ask my next question. How do Jung's principles and descriptive imagery relate to your expressions of entities manifested in your paintings?
What is connecting us, me and Jung, is more than real imagery. Is the process of creation, because way I'm painting is a really long process when you meditate through until moments when you are appearing in cosmic level of consciousness, and then you reaching in level when paintings. When your painting is swarmed by entities, by different moments from different dimensions, different past, present, future, out of time events, cosmical, and only after a while you start to actually analyze what came through your paintings in this process. And in Jung, because he studied painting in, I think, in Paris, and for example, Red Book is full of his illustrations, beautiful paintings, which again I came into them more later in my life, and I been astonished because I recognized some of my paintings there. I don't know how, from my very early teenager times still. Or there is a fantastic book, fantastic Tree of Life, very very similar to Tree of Life. I painted when I came in America. I started this much more intensely my path this way, and so these are connections in the process of creation, because I think this is how he created and wrote and painted painted too.
You mentioned that your paintings and the imagery is outside of time, and so this was something that seems to be intrinsic in your psyche, Katia. That you know that you're conscious of time as something in particular, not that we are stuck in it, but that it's around us, but it's also an energy field, and so that's very interesting from coming out of the creative process that you have. So
time is definitely an energy field, which if it's not across, then you don't reach any levels. That's why I'm trying ignore past, present and future. But of course it's hard. We here.
Well, that's good.
We here in Stronicka 9.
Yes, okay. That's where we are.
Already
I'm so happy to be in Prague. I can't begin to tell you that I've wanted to come back here. I was here in 1995 and 97, and it's been my dream to come back. And with you and Daniel, it's been more than magical. It's been an extraordinary happiness for me.
Thank
so
you.
I have to say that you and your birthday party and your mom Lena and everything, it's just been totally the world of magic.
Thanks
and
so much.
Prayer for the
your visit
humanity.
Helped us to enjoy Prague, because when we see you so happy, we starting to think, oh my God, because we used to it.
Yeah, we see it all fresh.
Yeah.
Again, also.
Because even us visiting, we right now an improvise studio and my mom's place, and we are half of us is in Connecticut, half here, and it's sometimes these transitions are challenging.
Well, you work in a large scale in your paintings, and I thought to ask you, how does the scale relate to the ideas of the presences that you manifest, that you reveal, and how, what are the energies? They're and the last, we spoke about this earlier yesterday, that and you described them as fairly positive energies, or positive energies indeed. So how does that come to you? Are you conscious of when they manifest to you in while you're painting? Dreams?
It is not all the time. Mostly it's a fight to across this strange line between our physical world. And so when it finally something coming, it is amazing, but it doesn't means I enjoy it.
It doesn't mean that you enjoy it.
I think I am
You just-
mostly tortured. I say it with smile, of course.
You seem happy, but maybe there's an element of that that's being driven, like, and
yeah, it is excellent moment when you finally have this events happening and you kind of becoming a channel, so you don't think about yourself. I later I don't know how it happened. I can't. I'm not planning any of colors, any composition, no entities. I really am a tabula rasa in this moment when something comes, but it takes time, and it's not joyful process, because
it's not. No.
No, it's not.
It's
But then later it is when you analyze what actually which archetypal symbolism, some beings, some moments of cosmical stuff happening. It is excellent, and I immediately understand the story. I feel where it's coming from.
Right. Well, are the energies, are the entities are in motion that you perceive as you put them down into
yeah, you don't want
canvas?
tied up the entities. They will don't like.
You don't call. Well, you don't think of them as entities, though.
I do. Some,
you do.
When they're coming, some spirits, entities. Of course, I brought them there, so I have to. Also, I have to be in good spirit myself. For I bring really good.
That's good.
Good stuff to say.
Well, that's a form of happiness then.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, of course,
Good.
it's not some negative at all. It's more it's work. It's a work which is undescribable almost. It is meditation, and you have to find when you paint out. I like to paint in the fields, and then you have to find some people on tractors or backhoes.
Yeah.
In America, especially mowing grass, we don't have this noise here. Here is another kind of enthusiastic constructions here happening too. Yeah. So these are.
So it's kind of, in that sense, it's kind of an alchemical process for you, that you are the creative laboratory in that way. So it's not so much not based on positive or negative emotions. It's just revelation or revealing, you know, what's taken place for you.
Yeah, this is
so that's for true artistic process, you know, and then really in the classic and real sense of creativity, and the way I think of it, you know, that it just happens, and you know.
Yeah, you become a channel, and then you have to only after analyze what came. Same like you asked me about Rilke, so this is what I have in my website. There is a quoted from Rilke's book. He stepped back and had to how was it and recognize what actually came through his book of do you know elegies, was it?
Well, that was my next question, was about Rilke and how his spirituality or his manifestations in his poems relate to your experience, you know, and I call it a creative experience, not to label it so it's personal to you rather than, you know, just anything, you know, another description. So that's really good. Are there any particular messages that you can think of out of Rilke's poetry that You don't have to remember right now. That's a tough question.
I love all Rilke's work, and I even love his. He had to write a book about Rodin. He was living with Rodin in Paris. This is part of his work. It was not poetry, it was a commission, but another beautiful...
He was living with Gauguin?
Rodin.
Oh, Rodin, the sculptor. Right, okay.
Otherwise not only Rilke, but Blake, Yeats, all of them creating from a same source of universal consciousness, and you recognize always when poets, musicians, artists, or creative people, when they connected to this source. If not, you feel it. It's not there. It didn't came.
Good. I'm thinking of my experience, why I focused on Rilke also in my own thinking and the questions is when the quote, who would, if I were to cry out, who would hear me among the angelic orders? And so that's also a problem of the isolation of the artist too, self-imposed in a sense in many ways, right? But
it's almost dangerous to be isolated artist. It can do quite a damage to the artist if he doesn't go out after and don't share what he achieved or created.
Yeah, what he created.
Yeah.
What about your colors? How do you, you have in many of your paintings, there's a blend of backgrounds, colors and dimensions. So it's not flat. They're energizing. Like this one in particular has
this is 2006.
many different chromatic context there, as well as the figuratives, and also what is happening among the lower part of that painting.
There is I didn't mention when you asked me about the large, how was it?
The dimensions?
No. The size of painting, actually, the scale. So what appearing, what's happening in my paintings? It's becoming relative, because in my paintings is a macro micro process, and in the result, you know how big is this is, I'm saying just metaphorically, like how big a god actually, or gods and goddesses or spirits or whatever, how big they are. You can see only if there is also some micro. So then I have this micro strange some small micro group of civilization, golden ones or whatever, who appear in same time with this gigantesque figure, and it's gigantesque only by feeling and also by this little appearances which came with the painting. And another thing is, you asked me about the background, and because the background in my process of paintings is happening parallelly with all creation, so it's not painted on the background, because there is no left side of the brain functioning at all. It's just process of intuitive painting and really deep meditation state, and so there is nothing planned, so there can't be planned background, but the background sometimes, because it's happening in same time like other parts of a painting, sometimes the background become entity itself. And this is a big it's a wild thing, like you think you caught something, some interesting events, some communication, some beings, and then suddenly you see there is a much more bigger thing happening, and it's the background. And I don't know if it's understandable.
Well, the backgrounds interact with the foregrounds, also in your large paintings, especially, and so there are transposed. There are things happening that are developed, and also there's a lot going on that's more subsumed in your imagery. So, which is a significant thing in painting, in my view, because for someone to look at your work over a period of time, it will not look the same over a period of months. There will be things that you will see, your focus might shift from, and it will look different from time to time. You know, that happens even with minimalism sometimes too. You know, you get a different perspective. But in your work, it's much more complex of what are the forms that are inherent there. Nice.
Interesting is there are two works. One is in America and one is in Prague, and I always, when I go to another side of the world than where I am, it's a little bit schizophrenic feeling, because I'm creating here from different here is more difficult to focus, actually, to meditate. Sometimes we renting studios, sometimes sometimes not. One year we lived very nicely around the castle. But it was exceptionally good place where I painted a lot. Not long ago, few years ago. Now we feel like we just visiting this time. So and every year it's or some exhibition or prepared some exhibitions. So the last one is the Faust House. So it's
which is quite a
and
amazing
now
place.
you alchemist came to my life, like my gallerist, which is excellent meeting.
That's true. And for me, being here, it's like being in the middle of the magical world again. You know, my experience of Prague twice before had to do with the Rosicrucian movement, and you know, which was a rebellion from the church, and then the alchemical process and expression, development, and all the aspects of that. But I see it happening in your work. This is what's so intriguing, that it's, as you said, it really is an alchemical process that you are undertaking and experiencing and manifesting. So it's wonderful. Well, I just let me just ask a question that maybe was sort of an aspect of how I was thinking about it, and as we're speaking, I'm getting more from your perspective and point of view, that what I'm thinking of, that our entities are more like how are forces or forms. How do you describe them yourself, or not describe them if you are just working on the painting itself? So I don't want to change your creative process by asking that question, but I'm curious if there's some.
You can scare it out. No,
you know.
I feel like universal energies doing a lot of this work, but you have to be in good state to be a channel for it. So so you have to be in.
I'm thinking of how to kind of explain this to people that don't understand the magic itself, and maybe don't believe that there is such a thing.
Her relationship to these entities?
Your relationship to the magic. And to, well, you can put them in perspective of the entities, but not necessarily. I think it's what you're doing is like, it's just happening before your eyes, before your psyche.
Is something I feel to be part of magic. I don't have a relationship to it, but I think
you are magic. Let's put it that way.
I think
you know, I think it is very easy. People that meet you,
some people
are
who don't have this understanding, they can just understand its opposite. You are part of magic. You can't have a relationship into it, because then you disconnected from all the process, from all this beautiful experience.
Right. So I guess my other question is more, I don't know, this is just sort of an afterthought of how to kind of bring this out to the public, but what about your individual painting techniques. And if you'd like to go into your studio to talk about that in particular, we can
do a little bit,
we can transit there, and then we'll try to do this properly.
Well, this is an improvised studio. It's not really my space, but
okay.
But lately I'm.
Oh, wait a minute. So this is Katia's
I'm going to let you guys
studio
do this, and
room.
I'll be in there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to run to the...
Okay.
Okay. Maybe too much light, isn't there? Too much light here.
It's okay.
Yeah. Because maybe less light will be more supportable for. So here are more paintings from earlier years, because I have mostly a lot of paintings in Connecticut, but these paintings are not mine. This is Jiří Šalamón.
No, right.
This is my piece, which I feel is one of my favorites from earlier years in Prague. It's called Gate of Sacrificial Pearl.
Oh wow!
And this is. It's not so often, but this one feels to me more autobiographical, because I'm teared into this in between these two continents.
Yeah.
And this is more to the left, the Prague, my cradle, where I born, and all these ghosts and spirits from Prague history, which are layered, and you know much about it. And so
I don't live here.
And there the figure in the middle. It's me trying to go back to the ocean, and so I call it Gate of Sacrificial Pearl. And when you see down the painting, you see actually two eyes looking just at you, and this is the depth of the spirit. I don't know if you see them. These two eyes, and they some people don't see them all the time until one day. People who buy my paintings, sometimes they call me 1 year later and finding.
That's what I was saying, which is fun, which is nice, because that you know.
Yeah.
That's really.
So this is one of my favorites from my earlier Prague life. This is.
So this figure actually, you said, is you.
Yeah, this is a more autobiographical, which I have some paintings touching my. There is involved my destiny, my life of a traveling painter.
Right.
between continents and living kind of two lives, and sometimes I'm tired. So this